Everything looks fine on paper. The job is fine. The relationship is fine. The routine you take every day is fine. Someone asks you how you're doing, you would say, fine. And you would probably mean it mostly, but something is off and you cannot explain it. It's not depression. It's not burnout. It's at least not the kind you can kind of point to. It's more like a low hum underneath everything in your daily life. And it's this quiet signal that something in your life is not fitting the way it used to. And if that's where you are now, this video is going to show you exactly what that feeling is and where it comes from and what it's been trying to tell you, because that feeling is not random. It's not a phase. It is one of the most important signals your life will ever give you. And I know this because I've lived with that hum for years before I understood what it was. Here is what most people do with this feeling when they get it, right? They try to fix it with the wrong tools. They change, the surface, new hair, new workout routine, new clothes, new hobby, new productivity system, new tool, new gadget, new widget, maybe even a vacation for a few days or a few weeks. And then the hum quiets down, but then it always comes back. And then they start to wonder, is something wrong with me? Or they start to wonder if they're just being ungrateful or if they're just never going to be satisfied. And they start to internalize this feeling as like a personal flaw, right? But here is what I want you to see. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is wrong with the structure. Something is wrong with the system, right? And the feeling of being off is not a defect, it's not a flaw. It happens when you are living a life that is designed for a version of you that no longer exists. I'm going to say that again. It happens when you're living a life designed for a version of you that no longer exists. So think about it this way. You've built your life, you've built your career, your routines, your relationships, your identity based off of where you were at the time, the values you held, the fears you carried, the things you thought success looks like, and at the time it fit. Right? You felt good before, right? That system, that architecture, that life you had designed for yourself worked. The structure made sense for the person living in it. But you grew, you changed, your values shifted. And maybe what mattered at 25 doesn't matter at 35. And maybe what felt like ambition before and being a go-getter now feels like you're running on a treadmill that you can't get off of. And maybe the thing you built your identity on is not the thing that actually gives you meaning anymore. The building stayed the same. The person living in it became someone different. And that is misalignment. That is the hum. And so when you realize this, what do you do? How do you change? How do you approach this? I want to give you a name for this. I call it an outgrown architecture. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. An outgrown architecture is what happens when an external life was built to fit an earlier version of you, right? The job matched your old ambition, or the relationship dynamic that worked when you were maybe less self-aware, maybe less self-attuned, less sure in your identity. The identity that you built to survive a season that you're no longer in doesn't fit that anymore. And the reason this creates a specific kind of discomfort is that technically nothing's wrong, right? Technically, nothing's wrong. You can't point to it and say, oh, this is terrible or that's going to fall apart. There is no crisis. There is no catastrophe. There is no obvious problem to solve per se, but you're simply living a life that was built for someone you used to be. And your soul knows it, even if your mind has not caught up yet. And that is your intuition saying hey, we need to do something different. And now here is where it gets really, really important, because this is where most people make a really, really critical mistake. When they feel this misalignment, they do one of two things. The first is they try to shrink themselves back down to fit into the old structure of who they were that was comfortable, right? They tell themselves, oh, I just got to be grateful. And they tell themselves it's not that bad. And they adjust their expectations downward and they make themselves smaller to try to fit that life that no longer works for them. And then the second is maybe they blow everything up, right? So it's like, oh, this doesn't fit me anymore. And they quit the job or they end the relationship or they move cities all of a sudden or change everything without understanding what actually was misaligned. And then what happens when you make those drastic jumps a lot of the times is like 6 months later, you have this new life and the same hum underneath, right? Because it's like changing the furniture without fixing the foundation of the building, right? So here is what I want you to see. You do not, and I repeat, you do not need to shrink and you do not need to blow up your life. You need to identify exactly where the misalignment lives. And there are 5 domains, 5 areas of your life where misalignment can hide. And I call these the 5 domains of life architecture. And when you check each one honestly, the source of that hum almost always reveals itself. And then you can address it the right way. So how do you do this, right? So the first area you want to start looking at is identity. Who did you decide to be? And does that decision still fit? Are you living as the person you actually are or the person you thought you were supposed to be? Okay, that's a really, really important question I want you to think about. The second is beliefs. What assumptions are running your background, are running your day-to-day life? What are your assumptions and beliefs about success, about worth, about what you deserve, about what's possible for your life? Are any of those beliefs inherited and just dropped down on you rather than chosen? The third is decisions. How are you making choices right now? Are you making your choices from fear, from feeling obligated, from factors you set years ago? You know, the quality of your decisions determines the quality of your life. And if your decision making is outdated and inherited and not your own, everything else downstream is affected. And the fourth is work, not just your job, but like, how do you spend your productive energy? Is it building something that matters to you? Do you have meaning in your life? Are you trading purpose for a paycheck? You know, and the fifth is your future. You know, where is all of this taking you? Where are your days taking you? Like, if you just stay where you are, where are you headed, right? What's the trajectory of your life five more years from now? Do you like where it lands? Like, if you take where you are right now, how you feel right now, what you're doing right now, and push it out 5 years, is that a life you are happy with? Right? And so these are the 5 domains, and maybe one of them in the list that I just told you stood out more than the others, right? Maybe one of them is the source of your hum underneath the surface. And so I want to give you some practical tools. So here is your exercise. I call it the alignment audit. For each of the 5 domains I just listed: identity, beliefs, decisions, work, and future. Ask yourself one question. If I were choosing this today with everything I now know about myself, would I choose it again? If the answer is yes, then that architecture, that area still holds. But if the answer is no, or if you hesitate, you have found the misalignment. Now, you do not have to rebuild everything at once when it comes to your life. That's not what this is. You just have to know where that hum, where that misalignment is coming from, because once you name it, it loses the power to sit in the background and just bother you and drain you, right? Once you see it, now you can make a better decision about it, and you can make a conscious decision, even a hard one, right? You can do that now, because it's always harder to address something that's unnamed, right? So if you are feeling that that hum is there and you don't know how to address it and you want help identifying the misalignment and deciding what you want to do next, I do offer a limited number of From Confusion to Clarity decision strategy sessions each week. And the link for those is below. And again, spots are extremely limited, but if you want to take that further, I'd love to help you. Whether you book a session or not, I want you to audit yourself. Think about the questions in this video. I want you to really, really think deeply about that feeling and where it's coming from for you. Because this is not a flaw. It's a signal telling you you've outgrown something that used to fit. Okay? So listen to it. Think higher. That is where your better life is waiting. Thank you for watching to the end. You didn't have to, but when you do, it really, really helps me out. So thank you for that. And I'll see you in the next video.